What's up, guys? This is Lucid Brain, and today we are going to talk about some of the worst conspiracy theories out there. And by worst, I mean the least logical, makes the least amount of sense, and are just basically a waste of time to look into. So, to start this one is not as dumb as the other ones on this list, but people thought 5G caused cancer, and I don't know. I tried to find where that originated from, and like apparently they put plants in a 5G setting or something like that, and the plants died or something like that. But that doesn't mean I don't see what that has to do with cancer. I don't think plants can get cancer. So
Well, I think it goes along with this. Like I was telling you the other day, I was doing work at a radio place, and they had a giant tower. And as I had to go around it, it said, "Beware EMF radiation." And it was just a regular radio tower. But the closer I got to it, like I could actually physically feel like my head getting fuzzy, and like fucking, I could feel it.
yeah, that's kind of crazy. Was it a 4G or 5G tower?
I'm not sure because I mean I just read all the warning signs because
Okay.
it's a chain linked off fence, so I was maybe 10 steps from it,
Okay.
but
Well,
still
yeah.
I think that I was probably too close. If you're reading a sign of something that's a biohazard, essentially,
Yeah.
if you're reading a sign, you're already probably getting affected by it. You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know where the 5G cause like I don't know where the cancer thing came from. I literally tried to find it, and they actually I can't name the areas, but in certain areas they actually moved the 5G towers away from certain areas because people were afraid to be around them because
yeah,
they thought it caused cancer.
it's kind of the same thing with people saying that phone screens cause cancer because of 5G and because of blue light and all that shit. I don't necessarily know if any of it's true. I'm sure that phone screens strain your eyes. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
they probably strain your eyes. I don't think that they would give you cancer. I mean, think about how much unnatural light we are under on a daily basis. I mean,
Yeah.
you're probably under unnatural light as we speak. If you're listening to this,
Yeah.
or you, like, am I wrong?
Well,
Like,
also cancer is a cell mutation, right? If I'm
well,
not mistaken. So what does that
yeah,
have anything to do with that?
different things cause cancer. Like they found asbestos causes lung cancer. Um, California finds everything leads to cancer. So, I mean, the sun can give you fucking cancer, and that's just UV radiation. So it's not like ridiculous to,
Yeah,
or
I guess it's not insane.
even if you get like actual radiation from something that is, uh, nuclear irradiated, like I don't know, uranium, plutonium, uh, even like radon. Fucking radon can kill you, and it's just a silent, odorless thing. You know
Yeah. So
that.
that's probably the
Uh,
least ridiculous one on this list. But I still think it's pretty dumb,
yeah,
honestly.
I don't necessarily know if there's evidence to back it up or not, and I don't know if
Not that I know
I don't know how much electromagnetic like field comes off of those towers, but there has to be some because it's spreading out something to give you phone service.
of.
That's
Yeah.
not it's magic. It's sending
Yeah.
out
Right.
it. Like even using the phone right now, I mean, potentially you're getting exposed to it because that's the only way that it would work.
But the thing is, why would 5G towers give you some like harm you when 4G towers wouldn't? Why did no one have a problem with this with 4G towers? Is it because 5G towers are stronger or like what?
Yeah, I don't know. I heard a
Like
lot
I don't
about.
get that.
I've heard a lot of people being afraid of it, and when shit was going 5G, people are like, "This is going to give everyone cancer." I mean, I remember pretty vividly people talking about it and
Yeah.
saying it's a legitimate problem. I don't think there's really been any in. Obviously, we could look at data and see if there was an intake in cancer since 5G towers have rose, and I'm
Yeah.
sure wanted to do a study, I'm sure the data is large enough that you could probably, at least have some idea. But who's going to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's been disproven that it causes cancer at the very least. It may have other effects on you. I'm not saying it has no effect on people, but cancer in particular, I think that's been disproven at least.
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that one's up in the air, I guess. So, probably everyone's heard this one before. Maybe not. Walt Disney was frozen, like, what do you call it? Cryogenically frozen under Disney World, was it? Or something like that? And he's still cryogenically frozen to this day, so he can, I don't know, wake up in the future, I guess.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't actually frozen, and that's just a myth.
But here's the thing: there's more to that. Apparently they created, not apparently, but some people think, Disney created Frozen, the movie Frozen, to detract traffic from Google searches pertaining to him being frozen in ice. That's supposedly the reason Frozen exists, and it's called what it is.
If anything, there'd be more people typing Frozen than ever. So the chances of running across an article like that are probably more, I would think.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that works, really. Because Frozen's a pretty big, popular thing, so I don't know. I feel like that might actually work to detract people from that, honestly. But maybe not. I don't know.
I mean, you're typing the word Frozen in a lot, and if, you know how... So, I mean, it's kind of like how searches are. If you're someone who's predisposed to looking up shit like that, if you type in Frozen, it's probably going to autocorrect you to cryogenics. If you're already a tinfoil hattist,
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily know if they would be saving anything. Obviously, I guess it would depend on how Google works.
I mean, you can't stop people from... If someone digs deep enough, you can find anything, pretty much.
Yeah. It's a well-known rumor, too, so...
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could say that one's up in the air, too, but I highly, highly doubt it. I mean, what's even the point of cryogenically freezing?
I've also heard that he was never actually cryogenically frozen, and that's actually a myth.
Yeah.
I don't have a site, like a source to cite, because I don't remember where I've heard it, but I know that I've heard it from multiple sources. I don't necessarily know exactly what they were at this point, honestly, but I have heard that it was a myth. So
apparently, no one saw him die, but how would you even verify that that's the case? That happened so long ago that it's how would you even verify that? There's no way to know. Oh yeah, no one saw him die. It's all right. I don't know what to tell you. That just doesn't really make sense. You can't verify that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's kind of bullshit. And anyway, I guess the only reason he would do that is he would hope that medical science advances at some point where they can figure... Literally, pretty much the premise of Futurama.
Do your organs still even work if you're frozen, though? I feel like you would just die while you're frozen, right?
Because they've actually found different people that in really cold climates and under ice. I think one person ended up surviving 8 hours underneath the ice.
What?
And the reason is because it's so cold, all your organs slow down and your heartbeat basically slows down to where it's barely... It's essentially the same reason that toads and shit that go deep in the sand and burrow, how they're literally sleep for years at a time or whatever. It's because they pretty much just put themselves in a vegetative state. Their heart rate pretty much goes towards barely beating. So
I forgot about that. And certain animals do that.
Yeah, and when you're that cold, your heart has a lot of trouble pumping shit. So essentially, like, your organs kind of just go in like power save mode. So honestly, you're probably, if you don't die from hypothermia, then your chances of surviving like a long period of time is probably better. Whereas if you're in like a fucking like a creek or something that has a really rough rapid and you're underneath and you're under for like 8 minutes, you're probably dead. But you could be under ice for like 3 hours and survive. Like you probably have you have a better likelihood of surviving just because your body temperature and everything just slows down to like a halt.
Yeah,
So,
I never really thought about comparing it to the creatures that do that, but I just assumed they were like, they do that because they're already cold-blooded, so it doesn't, I don't know, maybe it doesn't affect them as much, but we're warm-blooded, so like...
yeah, but not really, because look, bears hibernate, right? Squirrels hibernate. There's a lot of different that hibernate over winter. I mean, it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
They bulk up on food, and they gorge themselves. They gorge themselves the whole fall, like the entirety of fall, and they keep all that fat on them. So when they find a warm place and they sleep through the winter, their whole body slows down, and it just feeds off the energy of that fat. And the reason that a person can actually go pretty long without eating.
Yeah.
Like, you could probably go 3 weeks without eating, and you would have to get used to it, I'm sure. But you could function pretty normally for probably 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a bigger person, you can go a lot longer. It just wouldn't be comfortable. Like it'd be agonizing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But you'd be able to do
It'd be
it.
horrible.
The only reason that we have fat on us is for protection and safety reasons. In case we go through long periods of time that we can't have food, our body will eat our fat, and that's pretty much like the whole reason that's there. Because think about it like this: we're not very strong compared to other predators, so we have to be mobile. Like genetically, we have to be mobile to be able to survive. Because we're not like, it's not like we're out running something.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the whole thing. And I'm sorry that I'm gonna digress a little bit for just a second. But like genetically, the reason that we were able to move so quickly is because we have like the best endurance out of anything in the fucking world. Like kind of like marathons kind of show that. Like
Yeah.
we have like levels of, so that's like you're on the African plains and you throw and hit a fucking gazelle in the ass with a spear. You're not gonna be able to outrun it and catch up to it running, but you'll be able to easily keep up with it and wear it out.
Yeah, right.
Like that's kind of why that adaptation and the fact that we sweat and shit, like that kind of pushed us forward as a species, but like a lot.
There was also this guy, do you remember Stan Lee had that show, Superhuman or whatever it's called? It was just people...
One that I saw was the guy that just stuck fucking metal everywhere. Who just had spin.
Yeah, I remember that. But they had one where the guy was just... He would literally run in the snow and just the coldest areas, like shirtless. He wearing basically nothing. And they tested him. He sat in a... What do you call it? Like a tub of ice for hours and hours. And his body temperature was still normal. It was as if he wasn't even in ice. Like, obviously it was a little lower, but his body temperature was just... It didn't go down very much for some reason. So, it kind of shows you, like, the kind of shit the human body can deal with.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. I think I saw that show, like, when he was in it, too. And that's, like, the thing, too, is certain people have... what was I fucking saying? Oh, yeah, if you have a mutation, like your nerve endings don't work, I mean, essentially, you wouldn't be bothered by any of that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I don't necessarily know if that's a good adaptation or not, because, you know, you kind of need pain to, you know, pain is a very important thing.
I mean, you need to be
What?
able to. It's not even just pain. Like, you need to be able. It's a sense of ours. So you need to just feel things. So
Yeah, I mean, well, it's what keeps you from jumping off a balcony without thinking for a second. You know, like, if you don't feel any pain, you're gonna be doing shit. And you're gonna do
you
everything.
won't realize that
Yeah.
you're harming yourself, basically.
Yeah, which would be a really rough problem. Even something
Yeah.
simple, like working in a kitchen. I mean, if you don't understand the hot, then you're just like, you know, you could be doing damage to your fucking skin and all that, and you would never know. And if you can't feel, I mean, it's like a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Probably more of a curse.
So this is probably gonna be a quick one, but there is chemicals in the snow that the government is putting in the snow, like the snow's fake, because people will put up a lighter or something up to snow, and the snow would burn and turn black instead of melting. So people thought they were putting chemicals in the snow, and people were like, when I was a kid, the snow melted when we put fire up to it. That I don't know. You can't like verify that. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard people say that. But the reason it turns black is because of the chemicals in the lighter fluid. I forget what it's called, the exact chemical, but it's in lighter fluid. Not all lighter fluid, I don't think. And that's just what it does. It turns the snow black.
Well,
So
here's why it does in the first place. So, if you had snowflakes on your hand, your body heat would melt them, right?
yeah,
But if you take a bunch of snow and you pack it together and tightly compact it, it's going to be more resistant to heat because, you know,
it's more mass, right?
yeah, exactly, and it's condensed. So, you know, everything is made out of fucking atoms, and when you put molecules together and the tighter it is, it's like the same thing. It's what heat is, you know. When it's cold, there's more molecules that are close together, you know. And
Yeah,
then when it's heated, those molecules spread and like free and just hit each other, and they're like going crazy. So, I mean, that's kind of just science.
yeah,
Like, you're making a change, but it's, you know, equivalent. It's like a law of equivalent exchange, even though that's fucking anime principle. But
yeah. I mean, and also to the the people saying that as a kid, oh, it used to melt and it didn't do that. Who the fuck, like, why are you burning snow as a kid anyway? Why are you even doing that? And I feel like people are just saying that anyway, but it's been maybe not, because multiple people have said that,
no,
but maybe they're all just
it's been disproven. I saw a video with a gentleman that was like a meteorologist and studied, you know, weather patterns, obviously, and literally showed it on camera and explained why it's happening and debunked it very easily. Like, to
yeah.
where,
And I assume like it's not like the snow changed, like
no.
it's still snow.
Well, people are trying to say that the government controls weather and the
Yeah,
government decides when it snows and doesn't. And really, it wouldn't make any sense for the government to fucking make it snow and all that, because it sets back production on everything, including government work. So why would they go out of their way to make their jobs harder and to get less shit done?
yeah. I mean,
They will.
that goes for anything. I mean, why? What's the point in making it hotter, colder, or making a hurricane or a storm come? First of all, I don't think we have the technology to produce or make a storm or snow or anything like that. I don't think that kind of technology exists yet. Uh, but like, I can see it existing in the future, maybe. But I don't think we have it now, personally.
We could probably move on from this one, I think.
All right.
I don't
Alright,
know
so
how about the Holocaust one? So I can
oh
bring
yeah.
that out. So there's some people that believe the Holocaust didn't happen, and it's a real, it's a real belief that a lot of people, believe in full-heartedly.
I mean, like, there's so much evidence, documented evidence of the Holocaust happening that it's like, what? Why wouldn't you just believe it? I don't really understand that. I mean, I guess that doesn't necessarily mean, like, isn't there a museum, that has to do with? I mean, that'd be a really depressing museum. But I thought I
Yeah,
heard
but
there was a museum with the Holocaust, based on
there is
the Holocaust.
a Holocaust museum. I think it's in Poland. I think it's in Warsaw, Poland, because
Okay.
it might be at Auschwitz, actually.
Yeah, that's another thing. You can visit that area and you can, I mean, it's going to look different from pictures from 1940s or whatever it was, but I'm sure you can see some similarities.
Look, did you get the link I sent you?
Yeah. Nazi Germany, apparently these people think Nazi Germany's final solution was aimed only at deporting Jews and did not include their extermination. So I guess they just think they didn't kill them. It was a hoax perpetrated by Allies, a Jewish conspiracy, or the Soviet Union.
There's laws against it. So Holocaust denial is explicitly or implicitly illegal in 17 countries. These include Austria, Belgium, the Czech Republic, France, Germany, Hungary, Israel, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Russia, Slovakia, and Switzerland. Although I guess
Great.
you hold that belief in America and they have no problems at all.
I didn't know it was literally like banned, like prohibited in some places. That's kind of funny. I mean, here in America, I don't think they would ever do that, but
Well, it's not illegal. But
yeah.
it looked like there was a trial in 2006 for a speech made by someone in 1989, which he denied the existence of gas chambers at Auschwitz, and he got a 3-year sentence.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I thought there used to be a website, but I guess they tried really hard and got it taken down.
I believe it. But then again, there's probably a bunch of flat Earth type little communities. Well, that's not the same. That's not even close to the same. Never mind.
Yeah.
That's another one though.
I mean, there's a lot of anti-Semitic conspiracy theories.
Yeah, there is.
So I know it doesn't have anything to do with, obviously, the Holocaust happened and it was a horrible thing.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, there's so much shit in, like, saying that it did happen that it's like, I don't even know how you could deny it, to be honest. But I don't know.
well, I think that what they're pretty much just trying to say all the Nazis weren't that bad. Which,
yeah, I guess so, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people that fought for Nazi Germany didn't necessarily hold the same beliefs as the regime. But if you're in a country, the likelihood of you going against your country's military and government and saying you guys are fucking wrong and I'm willing to die on this hill. I mean, look at America. America has a fuck ton of problems, but there's very few people willing to die on that hill because it's fucking rough. So, that's a pretty shitty situation to be in.
Yeah.
It was mainly just a scapegoat. Everyone knows what World War II happened and what led up to it, and the fact that Germany had a lot of people kind of starting to become impoverished, and there was a lot of Jewish immigrants, and that had educations and were going in and being prominent in neighborhoods and starting banks and different businesses and making a lot of money, while a lot of German citizens struggled. And he was like, well, everyone is mad at the Jewish immigrants, so let's fucking use this to our advantage and
Yeah.
cite up some patriotism, and then turn that patriotism into fucking
Genocide.
a conqueror's mentality. So I don't think it was done maliciously, honestly. Some people took it that way, but if you look at it, the Japanese did just as much fucked up shit.
Like as the Holocaust.
Yeah, like during World War II, the fact that they went onto little islands and just fucking tortured and killed whole islands of like in the Pacific and Indonesia and like West Indies and all that shit. They just went onto islands and just fucking tortured people and did horrible things. And they did horrible things to fucking Chinese people too.
I believe it. I mean, that's kind of history for you. So, this one's gonna be a quick one too. The moon is a hologram, and it's a hologram because they're hiding something behind it. Is the theory, conspiracy theory?
Yeah, I want to ask you a question about that. So, how would they explain the different phases of the moon and the fact that it is in different parts of the sky at different times on different days?
Yeah.
It's usually never in the same place because it's rotating and the Earth is rotating. So the chances of it being in the same place are like slim to none. Like
That
ever.
would be a very elaborate hologram. The hologram would have to be, I guess it would be like the hologram's attached to whatever they're hiding behind it or something like that.
Yeah,
Because it can't come from Earth. That wouldn't make any sense, right?
Maybe it's like Ancient Aliens theory, and the moon is actually covering Nibiru or Planet X. Oh,
Yeah.
whole. So when Planet X is visible, they always have it basically locked on, just so no one can ever see past the fucking moon.
I was just about to ask, like, what is the point of, like, what could they be hiding behind the moon?
The only thing that I could think is like Planet X or something, where it would change everything that we know. So there's actual reason to, fucking hide it. But that's about the only thing I can fucking think of.
Yeah, that's kind of the only thing I can think of too. I don't know what else they would be hiding, honestly. Yeah, a space station? Like, what would be the point in hiding that? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, we already have space stations.
Yeah, we do.
It has been. Here's the thing: you can look back in recorded history, and the moon is told by societies that had no fucking way that they could even fly.
Yeah, that is very true.
Let alone go to the fucking moon. So who the fuck would have put it there then? Agent us?
Yeah.
Fucking Agent Alien theory too. In this motherfucker.
Yeah. Like, I remember people hearing stories in like the Bible of people following the moon because they thought it led them to water or something like that. Like, I don't know, it was something weird like that. So that,
I mean, the moon and sun have been on fucking cave paintings.
Yeah. I believe it.
So, I mean, that might be the stupidest fucking theory I've ever heard.
I think that's kind of dumber than flat Earth.
I think they're on the same point.
They're both really stupid.
Yeah, I think
because flat Earth, they think Antarctica surrounds the world. Like, what the fuck sense does that make?
Yeah. Why would a planet be fucking flat? How would that fucking work with gravity and the scientific laws that we understand?
Also, why would Earth be the only planet that's flat when the other ones you can literally look at them with a telescope are not flat, unless they think like you're looking at it from the flat side or something like that.
Well, there's a lot of people that have different sub theories. I know that I listened to a podcast where a prominent flat Earth guy was talking, and it was unfortunate because he was really articulate. So if someone is halfway listening, or doesn't really have deductive reasoning skills, they might be inclined to believe him just because he spoke really articulate and
Right.
he spoke with like a sense of purpose. And I was like, fuck, this guy probably does trick some fucking idiots into thinking that.
Yeah. Right.
But he was even saying there's a theory that there's a fucking globe, that the world is a globe, like a fucking snow globe, like there's a dome, and that everything in the sky is fake, and that we've never been to outer space and all this like fucking random shit. Even though we have live feeds of Elon Musk just went into fucking space.
Yeah. Right.
Supervillain Jeff Bezos just went into fucking space.
And I remember that
recorded.
guy who the highest skydive of all time was a space live stream. He was actually in space. You could see the curvature of the Earth and everything, and he jumped. So
yeah, he didn't talk about that. All he wanted to do was talk about why don't we have any exterior photos of the Earth. It's like
we do, don't we?
Yeah. Well, he tried to say that there was only one for like 40 years, which I can't verify that or not. But
yeah, I mean, we can't verify that, but I'm sure we have multiple pictures of it, satellites and whatnot.
I've seen plenty of pictures of the fucking Earth, so I really don't know what.
I think everyone has. Apparently not that guy though.
Yeah. So.
And what sense does it make that Antarctica surrounds the Earth like a gate or a fence?
You know what? That sounds like fucking One Piece. Are we saying that Piece is real?
Yeah, I think that's the territory we're into now.
I've never seen anyone walk around with the fucking Gummu Gummu no Mi turn into fucking rubber, or somebody can detach them from their body anytime something fucking sharp is around and then levitate. Like, maybe
that's how ridiculous that shit is.
Yeah.
No reasoning, basically. No good reasoning, I should say.
Yeah, it's unfucking real. The idea that narrative is like pushed and people strongly believe in back it. I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I literally don't even understand. It's a very small community, I would assume at least. So this one, I'm gonna rephrase this one and say what it originally said. Where I was reading the article that people were thinking this was a thing, it said scientists created HIV to decrease the population. And my very first thought is HIV doesn't immediately kill you or anything. So that doesn't make much sense to me. They would make something much more deadly. So I was going to rephrase that to scientists created other diseases to decrease the population, possibly, which is more up in the air than that just HIV.
Yeah, I mean, the government has been proven to inject people with shit and give people different diseases.
I forget where I heard this, but
the Tuskegee study was basically they took a bunch of people in the black community and gave them syphilis and did not tell them, and basically injected them and made them infected with syphilis and let them go out in the world and infect other people and studied it.
Yeah, and that's fucked.
It was 1,000 people initially, so I'm sure more than 1,000 people were infected and were affected by this, and the government literally did it and admitted to it. So I don't think necessarily.
It's not the craziest thing.
No, I would almost err on the side of plausibility that the government's, because I don't know if you remember, it kind of happened before we were born, and then kind of like started dying down a little bit by the time we were probably 2 to 3, maybe 4, because like the whole AIDS epidemic hit, and it hit kind of communities that nobody really cares about. Like, it wasn't progressive back then where people didn't mind gay people and
Right.
LGBT people. Like, those people were looked at disgusted.
Yeah.
At like they're vile and disgusting, and then the HIV community, like the HIV community and the LGBT community, kind of went hand in hand. And then there was a whole other theory that like gay people have AIDS and shit, which I think a lot of people got AIDS because I'm pretty sure the government did have a hand in doing it, just like the government started the crack epidemic
But
around.
that's the thing though. They didn't create AIDS. And the reason I
spread it around to people.
Yeah, they caused the spread of it, but I don't think they like made it in a lab. Because
No.
I forget where I heard.
It came from a monkey. It came from a chimpanzee.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I guess someone fucked the chimpanzee or like that, or exchanged bodily fluids with the chimpanzee. And I believe it was in the Congo. And then it fucking spread, and then somehow it, got out of hand. And I mean, there was a huge epidemic and shit. Like, it's kind of been proven that the government has done a lot of shit, and it's all kind of, they'll say like, oh, it's, for fucking scientific purposes, but they go into marginalized communities in impoverished areas and basically use people as test subjects.
See, that makes more sense than them just creating something that almost could destroy the world. Like, imagine them creating like COVID or something. And COVID killed so many people, and
not as much as the flu.
Yeah, not as much as the flu at all. And I forget where I heard this, but you can, if you look at a diseases on a molecular level, you can tell when something's modified or created in a quote unquote lab. I don't know how. I just heard that from a guy who basically just covers like scientific shit on YouTube. And yeah, that's what he said. So I don't know how true that is, but I kind of believe that because I imagine it would look different from a normal cell or bacteria or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what theory we're going by. If we're saying that they made it, I don't think they did. And it's even in popular culture, like the Kanye West song. I'm trying to think. It's like nothing's ever promised tomorrow the day, and they're like, I know that he even said, I know the government administer AIDS, and in the fucking song, and then I guess his grandmother died from AIDS, and he even said like, if Magic Johnson has a cure for AIDS and all the broke motherfuckers passed away, if you're telling me if my grandma's in the NBA right now, she'd be okay. Which like kind of sums it up. I mean, it's kind of why people are afraid of the COVID vaccine, because the government has a very track record of infecting people with shit and doing shady backward shit, and it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf. Once you lose the people's trust, I mean, it's hard to you have to go to extreme measures to retain it.
Yeah, I do get that. Like, I'm not really part of that more skeptic community, really, but I do believe, like, they did all that shit. But I don't think they created a virus or something. I just think that doesn't sound realistic.
Yeah,
because I don't. What if they ended up destroying the world? Decrease the population is a different thing.
But I think they definitely administered it and spread it. And I think if you want to say, I don't necessarily say it was population control, or maybe they started out just wanted to see what it would do. And when they discovered that it would be a problem and it's potentially really dangerous, and
they try to shut it down.
Yeah, like you get AIDS, you're pretty much dying. Like, there's nothing that you can do about it. Like, they've kind of made certain medications that can slow it down, I guess. But, I think they probably discovered that pretty quick and were like, yeah, I mean, we're going to be fucking our own we're gonna be fucking our communities up. So if anything affects government officials or fucking people at the CIA or any of those people, if something could potentially fuck them up, they're gonna stop.
Right.
But
Immediately.
but they don't care about fucking up regular citizens. Any of us,
They don't give a fuck.
They'd spit on our fucking face and tell us to and say, "I hope that you die." Like, they don't give a fuck about us people.
Yeah, that's why I believe they could possibly create something, but like I said, I feel like there's a line between like trying to decrease the population and then accidentally like causing like the apocalypse.
Well, yeah, look, China did a pretty shitty job at it, but they did do a job. With the whole killing fucking newborns and forced abortions and everything fucked that goes along with that. They've done a lot of fucked up stuff. Like consistently just done fucked up shit, and in the name of population control, which doesn't have anything to do with the American government. But there's even shit saying, all these people that were calling it the Chinese virus and saying that COVID was lab made and that China kind of did this to fuck the world up, which, yeah, the Chinese government is pretty fucking stupid, so I wouldn't immediately dismiss it but I doubt that they did that. I'm pretty sure that it's been proven that it came from a bat.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So, but yeah, I would definitely, if someone wanted to make a fucking bet with me, I would put my money that the United States government probably did administer AIDS to its people. I don't think that's even really a hot take. I think that's...
Yeah, I believe it.
But no, it's kind of proven that they didn't create it because they cited the source of where it came from.
Yeah, I feel like that's easy to prove.
Yeah, well, if you go and they test chimpanzees, you could probably find chimpanzees that are positive with AIDS, that test positive for AIDS and HIV. So that's kind of fucking proof, literally right there.
Yeah.
So, sorry, you say something?
Yeah, I just said yeah, basically.
Yeah, so that instantly just proves it, and then you're saying, oh, well, someone was going to fucking chimpanzees. Which one is more realistic? The fact that something happened where there was an exchange of bodily fluids with a chimpanzee that already had HIV, and the fact that we are so genetically similar to chimpanzees, we were compatible with those types of bacteria to attack us as well. And then it kind of spiraled, and there was not good outreach for it. There was not a good point of attack and attack plan on combating it, not demonizing it and trying to be understanding and, reasonable to actually help and, have fucking information on it and provide people with the information. We dropped the ball on that a lot for a really long time. So when there's no education for something and everyone's so misinformed, it's just bound to spiral and become a huge fucking problem. So they handled it really fucking badly, and that's the only reason that theories like this exist, is the fact that they just handled it so fucking poorly for so long. And there's still a bunch of misconceptions. And I'd be a liar if I didn't say, if someone is HIV or AIDS positive, I'm not going to necessarily say I'm super comfortable around them knowing that. Especially it's being in very close proximity.
Yeah, for sure.
So, it's kind of just a stigma that I think has gotten so out of hand that, without thinking about it, I'm kind of prejudiced against it. I wouldn't necessarily, want to be prejudiced against someone for something like that.
Sure.
But
when your life's kind of on the line.
Yeah, it's kind of like a safety thing. if something's ingrained about your safety, I feel like, there's not much you can do about combating like that, even though
being like that, yeah.
All right, you said you have a couple others.
We could probably do. We probably have time for like one more. And I was thinking we should have talked about this earlier when we were talking about them. This is the last one, by the way. We went through all of them. So we were talking about the moon earlier, but people think everyone knows this one. The moon landing was fake. So
yeah, there's a bunch of people that say bullshit about that.
I've literally seen celebrities go on Twitter and like talk about how the moon landing was fake, and then like all their followers are like, you have a point, because that's just how influencers are. Someone says something on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and everyone goes with it.
Yeah, I mean,
So I think there's a good portion of people that believe this.
I'm pretty sure it's been proven already. So
Proven that it's fake or real?
that is fucking real. I
Yeah.
mean, like, let's just think for a second. They did not fucking fake the moon landing, and what would they stand to gain to not going to the moon?
One of the things someone said was they faked the moon landing so that they can win the space race and make their country look good, the U.S. Because and Russia, I think, was the second people to the moon. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong, but I thought that's what it was. And we wanted to be the first people to get to space, but we actually weren't. And we just, before Russia could say anything, we just faked the moon landing, and we're like, yeah, we did it, just to do that. But I think that's really that's like so petty. Like, I just don't see why you would do that.
I mean, that's kind of how America is.
That's kind of true.
I mean, it's somewhat believable just because the government's, we're constantly doing pissing contests.
Yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, I think in the long run that people genuinely don't give a fuck who got to the moon first. Like, and I mean, maybe government officials care, but I think the average person does not care, like, at all.
It was different because there was a lot more patriotism at the time, and people took it very serious. But I think that, if anything, that's why it happened, and why it is real, is because they wanted to prove, and they sunk so much into it, and that kind of diffused the Cold War. So that was like a big point of emphasis to say, well, look, we're going to show them that we're the best at something, and we're going to do it before anyone else. So, it would be easily debunked if it was fake. Like, it would be easily debunked. It wouldn't just be people pointing at tiny little details saying, oh yeah, this, that, this, when you could say that about why it's real too. So I would think something like that, it would be controlled. Like, if it was fake, it would have been announced as a fact a long time ago.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be like everyone would know by now. And people say because there's a reflection on the astronaut's helmet in the very first picture ever on the moon, and people said the lighting on the astronaut and the guy in the reflection was different, as in, like, they, I don't know, photoshopped a different reflection, or photoshopped the astronaut, one or the other, which is like, I'd have to look at the picture to see if that's true, but I highly doubt that that's the case. I mean,
can you look at that picture real quick?
Yeah, I can pull up the picture. I'll probably put it on the screen too when I edit this. But yeah, people say, like, people don't know what direction the sun is in that picture, so how would you know if it was different like that? Like, unless it looks like wildly different. I gotta look. I found a picture. So to me, it looks like a little. It's a different He looks slightly sunnier in the reflection, I think. But it's pretty bright where the astronaut is anyway. But I think it's just a little more so in the reflection. So I guess that's why people think that. I'll send it to you, unless you looked it up.
I did not look it up.
I'll send it.
And anyway, there's people that study Photoshop things and do it for a career and can spot fakes
Yeah,
and
exactly.
stuff with minimal effort. And I've never heard of any of those people saying, "Yeah, this is easily debunked in Photoshop." I haven't heard anyone say that. So, I mean,
It doesn't
that's
matter if it's the best Photoshop in the world. If you look at pictures on a pixel level, you can usually tell when something's photoshopped.
All right, I'll be able to look at it. All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you could make that argument, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty
I mean,
shitty argument.
there's no obstruction, so I'm sure the fact that it's like a gray substance, so it's kind of dark. So I would think that that light probably reflects on it like pretty well. I mean, just look at the fact that how fucking bright it is in the sky, like lit up.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that kind of proves that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and I think they would be, in that picture at least, they'd be closer to the sun, so.
Yeah, I mean, they could potentially be closer to the sun, depending on the moon's orbit around the Earth. And I mean, that's a few thousand miles closer. So I would have to think that that probably makes a difference.
Yeah, I assume so, but I don't know.
I'm not too sure about the moon's orbit, so
I don't know either. I'm not an expert on it, but I don't think it takes a genius to debunk that.
Yeah, I don't either. All right, guys, thanks for listening to Stupid Conspiracy Theories on the Lucid Rain podcast.
We'll see you guys next time.